La 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 la. Okay. Come on, computer. Got it. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody out there this morning? I have got my water. I've got some stuff to talk about today. Put out a couple of items. There we go. Let's not have my volume on my phone up so loud. So all you can do is hear my phone re-echoing. How's everybody today? I know that Stephanie is out there and Colleen's out there. They're both looking around to see what's going on. And I'm here trying to make sure I'm not jerky today. We've done a couple things to make it work better for you guys. Hopefully you guys can see me. So I am looking at tools in my sewing room. After I recorded my video yesterday and put it up, I was looking around and trying to see what all I use every day. And I thought, well, gee, why don't I share it with you guys? So that's what we're doing. Am I still jerky? Trying not to be. Good morning, Courtney. How are you? I see you did live streams all night. I'm shocked you're awake this morning. I was at yours, and then I saw that you and Beth did a live stream later. So I was like, yeah. Good morning, Sandra. How are you today? Courtney, are you able to do links today? Colleen is watching from her phone because she's transporting kids around. So if you could do links today, that would be great. If not, it's okay. Just thought it might be nice if we put them up. But what I've got floating around here on my desk, and you guys can't see what's on my desk because I don't have the camera angled down that way. Let me try to move it a little bit so you can see. I have all this stuff. No, I'm glad you're good. That's awesome. I have all this stuff on my desk. That's stuff I use. And I thought we'd talk about it because some of my tools are unconventional. They're not things that people normally use. I am going to talk about things that make it easier for me to be able to sew and quilt because, as we all know, my arthritis likes to kick my tushy bop. So you're cleaning up something real quick? Okay. Good morning, Teresa. I appreciate that, Courtney, very much. So I'm talking about tools that I use in my sewing room. Now, I use scissors. I think everybody uses scissors. But I like these for my hands because they're spring-loaded. They're Fiskars brand. And I am going to put out a list later on today with links for everything. Just got to get them all gathered up. So put that together. We've got the Fiskars. And then I use these in my chicken salad videos. I was talking about snips and different things. And I thought maybe I should mention what I have. So these are surgical snips. I have a pair near every sewing machine because I use them to cut little threads. Like if something gets bunched up or caught, I can reach underneath and cut it. And it lets me cut extra threads on applique, especially because it gets down there really close. Good morning, Colleen. Aw, I hope Kim's okay. Trying to keep the phone where I can actually see it. Is the video quality better today than it was the other day? We're trying something new to see if it helps. Okay, and then I've got a pair, these are my little embroidery snips that I actually used in the chicken salad video. They are Ginger. And these have been well worn, but they're still nice and shiny, which is nice if you've got gold something. I use these whenever I cut out appliques by hand. And the thing in the video that seemed to catch attention was when I use these to cut stuff out, I move my fabric rather than moving my scissors, because that way I can use the sharp edge of the scissors and not have to clip so much. She's fine, just going to be hectic. Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad it's not, health issues. And then this is something that I saw on So Yeah a while back. They were selling it as a Kai item, and Kai sells these 3 for $9. These are an eyebrow shaper. You can buy them on Amazon or at the Dollar Tree. Hubby said he's seen them in there. When I looked yesterday on Amazon, these were $54 for $9.99. And they make a great seam ripper. I just sewed a little something together here, but you can actually go in there, and especially with flat seams, you just like literally go through the seam and you just saw a little bit. Works better than a traditional seam ripper if you're just doing a quick seam. And I like how this just gets in there and cuts it and doesn't cut your fabric. So I wanted to show you guys that and tell you where you could get it way cheaper. I'm not a big fan of the Jenny Rip. Jenny Doan just pulls everything apart. So seam ripper works really well. Hey, Shirley, how are you today? And this is not a traditional sewing tool at all. But you know how it is. Whenever anything gets used for sewing or crafting, they find a version of it and mark it up like crazy, just like they did with this. This is Aleene's Tacky Spray. This is $6 a can on Amazon Subscribe and Save. Elmer's makes a version of this. It's a spray base that is $3.97 a can. I try to buy the Elmer's when I can, but Elmer's has been unavailable, so I've got this one on Subscribe and Save. Does anybody else use spray-based out there? Am I the only one? I know long armors don't use it, but I use it for free motion quilting because doing the safety pin method hurts my hands. I see everybody out there chit-chatting. And then Colleen keeps putting up the links to these in different chats whenever I talk about them. So I wanted to show them to you guys. These are my Knot Acorn pens. I have 2 versions here. This one is a Montana marker. Company's name is Montana Cans. It is an 8mm round. I have a couple of them. It's got a little sponge in it. I use mine. I have 3 of them filled with different things. This one has best press in it, so I can just put a little best press in one spot. And you have to push down to get it into the sponge, but then you can use it however you like. I also use it on seams. I have one with watered down glue in it for applique, and I have one with starch and water in it if I want to iron with starch instead of with the best press. You spray based too, Zella? Yeah. I like spray basting. I don't like pinning. This is the other one that I have. These we bought, I think, 12 of them for $11. And it's just a brush, and you can paint the liquid onto whatever you want, including a 1/4-inch seam if you're foundation paper piecing. And that brush lets you have control. It can either go sideways or it can go long ways. So depending on how wide your seam is, it'll put it where you want to put it. So those are both items that are way cheaper than what, they do wash out. They wash out after you use them, but it's great to help you get your stuff done when you're actually paper piecing. And then I keep always in my sewing room a pencil. I use it to mark fabric. If I'm doing half square triangles or if I want to mark the fabric so I know that I need to mark something there, I can do it with a pencil. Pencil washes out too, as does friction pens. Friction pens were not invented for sewers. They were invented for other things. But I like friction pens because you can heat them out. All you have to do is apply your iron and it goes away. Yeah, I like that they wash out. So that's the pens and the cutting tools that I use in my sewing room most of the time. And they're everybody kind of knows those tips. I got a couple of other items that I use that aren't as commonly known. I have these little boxes that hubby got for me at, I think he got these at Dollar Tree. They were like $1.25 for two. The spray adhesive washes out also. It's just glue. The Aleene's washes out, so does the Elmer's, because it's just Elmer's white glue in a spray can. That's all it's for. So it washes out too. I've never had any issues with it staying stiff after I wash a quilt. That's what I usually base things with. Yes, it does, Shirley. It does wash out. These little containers that I've got from Dollar Tree, they work great because they hold things like, for me, clips, because I use a lot of clips. But I'm always afraid I'm going to knock the clips down and spill it somewhere. So when you have a locking piece on it, you can just lock it. And then some of you have already seen this little sheet that I did. I took, somebody had alphabetties. They were showing them on their live. And I was like, I looked up alphabetties and I went, oh my gosh, I'm not paying that kind of money for that. So I just printed my own alphabet and letters out on some paper. And then I laminated the sheet of paper. I don't know if you can see the shiny on there, but I laminated it and then I cut my little things out. And then I put them in my little box. I use them whenever I make like the Barn Girl vintage box. And I just labeled mine alphabet. Don't want to get in copyright trouble for using the name alphabetties. Goodness forbid. We don't want to do that. You guys use anything like that in your sewing room? The alphabetties or the little containers to hold your clips? And then this is my neatest trick ever. This is the one I'm like most proud of right now. Anybody else ever seen these? You ever worked in a restaurant? These are those receipt spikes that they use to keep their tickets on. And I use mine to keep my bobbins on. I usually fill 5 or 6 bobbins at a time. And I know I've got to clean and oil my machine every 3 bobbins. So if I've gone down 3 bobbins, it's time to clean and oil it. And when I get to the last bobbin, when I use this one, then I know that it's time to change the needle and clean and oil it. And that one holds my bobbins. It works better for me than a box, because if you put your bobbins in a box, you have to keep pulling the box back out. This just sits over next to my sewing machine and stays out of my way. And then Sandra, I think you taught me this, didn't you, Sandra K, about wrapping the binding around something round and folding it in half? Well, I took my binding, and this is a little piece of pool noodle. I just cut it the same length as my spike. Had to think of that word there for a second. And put some extra fabric over the top of the spike. And then I wound my binding right around the spike. And as you can see, it rolls right off. So when you're putting binding on a quilt, you just set this beside your sewing machine and put it on there. And if you don't want to iron your binding, you can just fold it in half and wrap it around this. And then put a pen in here. And it automatically forms it to the shape you want, which is that folded in half shape. And then you just unwind it whenever you want to bind a quilt. I thought that was pretty clever. Yay, that was from you, Sandra. Yes, I use it all the time. I actually think it's awesome. I'm like, yeah, I'll try that once, twice, 3 times. It works great. It works really great. And then I use a lot of heat and bond. I'm working on the chicken salad quilt. It's going to use up probably most of this. I put up my first chicken salad video yesterday, and I used heat and bond. But if you don't want to buy heat and bond, or you don't use heat and bond for whatever reason, because it gets ironed on, you can also use white glue. I put some in one of my pens, and I use it watered down to hold applique down. But you can actually just apply the glue directly to the back side of your fabric piece and put it down and iron it so it's dry. You don't ever want to sew through wet glue. But if you iron it so it's dry, then you can sew your applique down, and when you wash your quilt, this white glue comes out too. So you don't have to deal with that. And then the other thing that I find is an unconventional tool in my sewing room is over here. It's my Cricut. I use my Cricut to do a whole lot of stuff. I have cut out templates to be able to draw like Baptist fans on quilts to be able to quilt it. I cut my hexagon template out of a piece of plastic, just like this one, maybe from this piece of plastic actually. But the Cricut will cut a whole lot of materials, and I'm planning to show in the next block video for the chicken salad, I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut to cut out your chicken salad pieces so you don't have to use the embroidery scissors at all. So that's just a few of the unconventional tools I'm using over here on my desk. What do you guys use that's new and different and unusual? I'm curious. I don't know if my chat's loading slow today, or if you guys just aren't talking. What's going on here? My life is paused, apparently. What's up? So, what do you guys use in your sewing room that's on a budget and doesn't conventionally be counted as a sewing tool? Oh, that's an awesome idea, Colleen. I use pieces of wood myself. I have a piece of styrofoam that's about 3 inches thick, and I'm seriously thinking about cutting a piece of that and using it to hold all my rivet dies. I haven't played with it yet, but it's an idea that's running around in my head. And I've got this, which is the little piece of foam that came with my cell phone. I'm trying to figure out what I can use it for. It's pretty, it's not tacky, but it's solid styrofoam. Like if you press down on it, it doesn't go anywhere. I'm wondering if that would work for something in my sewing room, maybe as part of a pin cushion. You never used it for food? That's good. Yeah, all my spray adhesives wash out. They washed out pretty easily. As a matter of fact, I've never noticed that anything gave me problems. And I'm trying to figure out, make sure that this is moving. Well, that would probably explain a lot of it. It's just showing me talk chat instead of live chat. Ooh, Courtney's going to load links in, guys. Yay. That's awesome. I appreciate that, Courtney. Oh, the other thing I keep in my sewing room, you guys have tweezers? Am I the only one who uses tweezers? I use mine a lot. I use them to weed vinyl for the Cricut. I also use them to pull threads out of places they shouldn't be, like if my sewing machine gets jammed up. Garden gloves with nubbies when quilting. Yep, those are helpful. I have some compression gloves that I use for my arthritis. They work pretty good for quilting too, but I never remember to put them on. And that's the problem. I have to remember to put them on. Ooh, that was a little gnat flying around. I don't know where that came from today. And then you do tweezers too? Yay. And then there's this little thing. Courtney was showing hers last night, and I like hers, but I like mine too. I glued a magnet to the bottom of mine so it would stick to my sewing machine. And this is just, you piece your stuff and then you run it through and cut it on that little tiny razor that's in there. I may get one of those like Courtney has at some point, but so far this one works really well. And I can set it anywhere on my desk that I want it so that I don't have to worry about it. And then if I'm feeling icky one day, I can move it closer. And if I want it out of my way, I can move it further away. And it's tiny. Hey, Lori, how are you today? Okay, now you guys, if you didn't see Lori Miller's live or Quilting in the Country's live earlier this week, you definitely need to go watch it, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a scrappy quilter. And she was digging through a whole bunch of stuff that she'd been given. And I have all these ideas now running around in my head for what to do with Lori's scraps. I'm sure she's probably going, what? Yep. Hey, Lisa, how are you today? We're just talking about different things that we use in our sewing rooms that aren't necessarily conventional sewing tools. I have a bottle of glue. I have some recipe spikes. I have pool noodles. I have a little bit of everything floating around in my sewing room. This is just like really, really weird, huh? You're on the teeny tiny phone, which is useless, Colleen. Good morning, Christine. Oh, Courtney, did Crystal Lewis ever get in touch with you? I know sometimes she shows up to my chats too, so I have to make sure I remember to tell her to talk to you. Christine. Oh, and in Lori's chat the other day, I apparently put my elbow on my keyboard and decided to spam her chat. I wanted to show her that keyboard so she know what I was dealing with. Tech support's wandering around. Hey, Sylvia. It's like everybody's coming in. I appreciate that. It's a good morning. It's a good morning for all of us. The other thing is, thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it. The other thing is these Omni grid rulers. I like them. I have them in a couple of different sizes. I have a big one and a baby one. They work great for doing all kinds of cutting. And I'm going to see if I can put this white behind it so you can see it. I discovered over the last few days, especially making those pineapple blocks, that there's a 1/4 inch mark right down the side here. And I've been using that instead of dragging out the add a 1/4 ruler. I find that that works just as well for me. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate it. Thank you. And Sylvia, guys, you need to tell Sylvia this, because she put up a video on YouTube. Apparently she saw the New York Beauty yesterday and she thought, oh, I'll design my own. So she did, and she put up a 2-minute video about how she designed it. And I'm sitting here going, holy cow, how does she have the talent to do that? And I don't have the talent to go design my own pattern. She's like, oh, I just took a plate and did it. And I'm thinking, Sylvia, that's huge talent, huge talent. I cannot design a pattern, not for quilting. And she just designed a New York Beauty pattern for herself, put it together, or American Beauty, I think she called it. So if you haven't seen that video yet, it's only like 3 minutes. You should definitely go watch it later. Sylvia has got talent, folks. You guys need to tell her she's got talent, because that's nothing. A tracing wheel with perforated paper for FPP. That's a cool idea, Christine. I would have never thought to use my tracing wheel for this. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I know where my tracing wheel is because I haven't used it in so long. I haven't sewed garments in quite a while. Thanks. It was easy, she says. Yeah, that wasn't easy. That was skill. That's talent, Sylvia. That's amazing. And I'm always looking at patterns and coming up with, how do you make that block by myself? But I would have never figured out how to make the American Beauty, New York Beauty myself. I've watched Quilting Marine do it and gone, I don't know, looks fun, but I've never actually tried it. Okay, Jen, I appreciate that. Sylvia, I don't want your head to get big, but I want you to realize you have real talent there. All of those blocks that she's done in her detective series, I'm hoping she's going to show them on video at some point. But she designed a block for Miss Marple, for Father Poirot. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't speak French, so I'm not good at that. I can do a little Spanish. You hate to fold the paper? Yeah, me too. I was watching Courtney do foundation paper piecing with freezer paper last night. That's another thing a lot of people don't think to use in their sewing rooms. They think you have to buy this special paper for it. I made, I've got little hexies made from paper. I just cut them out of my junk mail with one of those squeeze things, which is hard on my hands after a while. I want to make the great big ones like Stephanie's making right now. Hi, Lynn. How are you today? Oh, Colleen, thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure who the red lip lady is. Is that Miss Marple? Or is that somebody else, Sylvia? Yeah, and how do you put red lips in a black and white block? I would have not. I don't have that kind of talent. That's not my skill set. I have other skills, but that one just blows me away. But I'm hoping that now that we've got the first block of the chicken salad out, I've got the applique portion of that block going up today. Hopefully that'll be up later this afternoon. I want to get that put up for you guys so that you can see how I applicate it on my Baby Lock Jazz. And I've got a couple of other things that I've got in the works for you. A video with links to everything that we're using today so that you can find it if you want to do. Awesome. Lynn, I was just talking about various items that I use in my sewing room that aren't necessarily considered quilting tools or sewing tools. Washable school glue. I've got a couple of different kinds of pens that I use to apply starch and basting spray. If you go back and watch the replay, it's like the first 15 minutes of the video. I didn't want to hit you guys with everything all at once, but I thought it would be nice to show you guys some of the things that I use and to maybe hear from you guys what you use in your sewing room that isn't considered a conventional sewing tool. But, these are just little things that I've found over the years. And honestly, when I was looking for links, so if you wanted to purchase something, you could find it. A couple of the items are so old that I don't know how to find them anymore. So I'm trying to get those links all pulled up for you. And I'll either put them in the description box of this video or of the next video that I put up so that they show. May leave them permanently in the description boxes for my videos because I use them often enough. I need a new cheat sheet for sure, Colleen. I've added a couple of people to it. I've added Lois Stanley's Instagram, and I believe that Marie Hahn also has an Instagram channel. I don't have her link, so I'm hoping that you saved it. Miss Fisher, is that for these, Courtney, for the seam saws? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, they were like 54 of them for $9. And I was like, and you're going to pay $10 for 3 from Kai just because it has Kai stamped on the side? When Soya showed the up close of this, I was like, really? I have that. I have one in the bathroom. I use it for my eyebrows. You have Marie's? Good. I would love to be able to link Marie's Instagram whenever I'm moderating for somebody. That would be helpful. And then I don't know how many of you guys are participating in the chicken salad sew along, but I have my book here because I wanted to make sure that if anybody had any questions, I could answer it for you. I also need to put a link in that video's description for where you can download the sewing guide for it from Riley Blake. I need to put that in there. Oh, for this little cutter. Okay, cool. Yeah, everybody was talking about getting rulers with a magazine. What magazine is that, Lynn? Is it only in the UK? I saw some pineapple rulers posted from a magazine too. And I was jelly because I was like, well, gee, I had to get mine from a slow boat from China. You guys got yours sent to you. You sew every day too, Sylvia? Yeah. It's not a good day if I didn't get to play at my sewing machine for a while. But we're trying. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds chirping outside. We apparently have some swallows that made a nest, and it sounds like their birdies have hatched. You're waiting for the cutouts. Oh, you bought one of these for your daughter? It's a patchwork and quilting music magazine in the UK. Yeah, this is, I think, safer than that big one. But I do like the fact that the big one, you can replace the blade and you can use an old rotary cutter blade for it, because I do save my used blades. And I'm waiting. Let me grab this. I told you guys I broke the spring on my Martelli earlier in the week. I ordered the spring on Monday, and I'm hopeful that since Martelli ships from Florida, that my spring will come in today so I can put the spring back in here, because I'm not really sure about using this while the safety blade isn't engaged where it's supposed to be, because I could see myself hurting myself bad on that. That makes sense. Oh, good morning, Donna. How are you today? Happy birthday to your sister. It's Donna's sister's 59th birthday. So happy birthday to you. And that's all you get. That's all the singing I'm going to do. No more singing on the channel. I can't. Yvette sings on her channel, and I just sit here and laugh because she just gets right into it. Well, that makes sense, Lynn. Only buy a magazine if it has something useful in it. Most of my magazines have gone to online, the ones I like to read, and I have a subscription for Country Living through, I don't know, 2025 or something. And I end up reading most of the articles online because I like being able to enlarge the pictures, because Country Living is a decorator's magazine. And you can enlarge the pictures on the computer and really get up close in the details on stuff, which you can't do with a magazine. You're back. Okay, that was fast. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, yeah. Can't wait to see if you post a picture of that, Sylvia. I love seeing new rulers. And the cool thing about it is, though, is that you can pull rulers. Like I said, I've been putting all of mine into my Cricut and then use the Cricut to cut it. Ooh. You finished up the Maryland quilt on your mid-arm and you're making the black binding today. Are you going to bind it, or are you just going to make the binding and then do the binding part tomorrow? Yeah, Country Living is a great magazine. I used to have every Country Living from the dawn of time, because I started ordering it when I first got married in 1980 something. And I got rid of them when I moved years ago because I was like, oh, these are just clutter taking up space. Now I wish I had them because I'd love to be able to look through some of that stuff. But that was back when everything was blue and mauve and ducks, you know, on everything. And I'm ashamed to say that I had duck canisters for way longer than I should have. And it was kind of funny because I donated my duck canisters to Goodwill. And a couple of weeks later, one of my friends posted that she had just bought these cool vintage duck canisters at Goodwill. And I thought, I wonder what the odds are that she has the same canisters that I donated. We will see. Oh, Donnie, you got your calendar video up? Yay. 7 p.m. Eastern now. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome, Donna. And I think Stephanie has moved her time. If you guys watch Moore's of the Long Arm Quilter, she went from 10 a.m. on Friday mornings to 3 p.m. on Friday afternoons. So keep an eye out for that this afternoon. You have tons done, but no black. I make binding ahead of time too. Does anybody else do that? Make your binding ahead of time for, like, I love striped fabric, but I don't like it in quilts normally. So I usually will throw that into a binding, just go ahead and cut it and get it put together. And now that I have my little roundy thing that I can wrap it around, I don't even have to iron it. I just wrap it around, pin it, and then when I'm ready to use it, I just take it over to the sewing machine and use it. But I need to make, that's why I've got the pool noodle sitting here. I need to make a couple more of those little things for the binder, or to hold the binding. Oh, no problem, Donna. I don't mind sharing content creators links. That works for me. You guys are nice enough to share mine. I should figure I should be nice enough to share yours as well. So that's just the way it goes. Because that off to Cardiff to see your granddaughter. Aw. Well, I hope the visits go well, Lynn. I wish we could go see our grandkids, but we're still full blown in the area where there's lots and lots of infections from that nasty sea thing. So we aren't going anywhere until that's mostly cleared up. And I've got to go get a booster sometime this week because we are going to break quarantine to go to one of my grandsons is graduating kindergarten, I think, or pre-K going into kindergarten. But we're planning to go to that. They're not calling it a graduation. They're calling it a moving up ceremony. We're planning to go to that on the 23rd of May. So I've got to go get the booster shot done here in the next few days. Maybe I'll go tomorrow if Walmart can get me in. That's where I've been getting it at. Or I could go to CVS or Walgreens. But they closed down all of our vaccination centers except the ones that are already in stores. So I want to get that done. Zella, sometimes I do it that way, but I usually cut out the block portion of my quilts. And then once I've got the blocks made, then I cut my sashing and put sashing and cornerstones or whatever's required there together. And then when I get ready to put the borders on, I cut those at the time that, you know, once I have the top of the quilt together. And then I do binding after I have everything quilted. Awesome. Oh, did I show you guys this? Some of you have been listening to me complain about this lemon quilt for a while. I finished most of the top. I've got to still put the borders on, but I've got my lemon quilt done with all those little drunkard's path. I have a seam opening. They poke my finger through there, but I got my lemon quilt done. I'm looking forward to seeing what that comes out like once I get the borders on and get it quilted. And I'm hoping to quilt it this week, maybe even do a video on it. But I do have a video on sewing it together. So that'll be coming out soon. And that is, of course, this quilt from Cotton and Joy Patterns. I added some pink into mine because I like pink lemons and pink grapefruit. And I thought that would all be cute together. Thank you, Zella. I appreciate that. It's okay, Colleen. We appreciate what you do. The moderator with the mostest. That doesn't rhyme, but whatever, it works. But I put, a little bit of pink here and there. And I'm thinking about putting some pink into my binding. I think I'm going to do a somewhat scrappy binding because I have green and yellow left and some of the pink. So I'm thinking about adding some of that into the binding when I get ready to make it. Cell phone CPR. Okay, Courtney. Okay, guys. Anybody got anything else that they use that's unconventional in their sewing room? Hey, Dawn, I haven't seen you in forever. Dawn must be tied to her new quilting machine. Are you getting better on it? I haven't been to a lot of lives lately either because I've been busy trying to get all this crazy stuff done. I figured, got to get some videos out there and some content done. And I've spent more time editing videos than I want to tell you guys about this week. You know how that goes. Lives are so much easier. They really are. Editing is just, it's soul killing. Eating curry. That seems to be a really Brit thing to do, is eat curry. I don't know that I've ever had curry, but we did make beans and rice for dinner last night. Nice that we had the beans canned and that we had rice on hand. And I put a jar of our home canned beef, and it was pretty good. The only thing that would have made it better would have been to have gravy on it, but me nor hubby is supposed to have gravy these days, so we both settled for putting some hot sauce in, mixing in a little cheese. You're working to pay off your long arm, Dawn. Okay, that makes sense. Can you make it work to pay itself off? Maybe do some long arm quilting for others, or have you not learned enough to do that yet? See, that would be my dream job, is to be able to long arm quilt for other people. But I'm not good enough at free motion quilting. And, I don't want to make another house payment to buy a machine that has a computer with it. But I would love to be able to do that. Awesome. And of course, Courtney is doing long arm quilting for people. So does Teresa Louise. Yeah, that's the plan once you get good enough, or are you already there? Because I think that Colleen has another list of people who do long arm quilting for hire. So if you're up to that point, let Colleen know so she can put you on that list. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that, one of these days I can do it. Becca said the other night that her YouTube pays for her long arm, and a light bulb went off over my head, literally. And I was like, oh, hey, Brenda, how are you today? And the light bulb went off, though. I was like, oh, I could do that if I can ever monetize. Please share my link with your friends, folks. I'm getting very close on the hours that I need to be able to do that. But I'm a ways off on the subscribers. And I would like to get up there closer to that 1,000 mark as soon as I can. So you've got to sit down just working through the learning curve. Okay, well, Dawn, for sure, if you have a page or something, send the link to Colleen so she can add you to her list of long arm quilters. Because every once in a while, somebody does ask in a chat about getting a quilter or getting in touch with a quilter. I don't know if Colleen's got any links for anybody in the UK, Lynn, but Maybe Sylvia does. I don't know. Maybe Sylvia does long arm quilting. I know that Kate at the last Homely House took her quilts to somebody in Scotland, but I don't know if that was because there wasn't a quilter closer or if that was just who she decided to use. And the lady in Scotland has a YouTube channel, but off the top of my head, I can't recall it. I think her name might have been Patsy. No sewing friends? Well, darn it. It's 4,000 hours, Lori, and 1,000 subscribers. And I'm well over 2,000 at this point. So I'm crossing my fingers that I can get to that level because, if I can monetize, then I can maybe talk tech support into buying me a long arm. After, we take care of everything else we've got to pay. You know how that goes. I don't have sewing friends in person either. I have lots of them on YouTube, though, which is nice. There you go. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate that. I'm sure Lynn will, too. Okay, guys. So we've been on a little over 45 minutes. I think Courtney and Colleen have put up all the links for everybody. So I'm going to say bye, and I will see you guys. There's videos coming out this weekend, fingers crossed, if I can get everything edited. So I'll see you guys in video soon. Lynn, if you want to watch the replay, you can see the items that I use, and hopefully they're common enough items that you can find them in the UK if they'd be useful to you. And I just want to say love you guys. Have a great day and a great weekend. And I will see y'all at Stephanie's at 3. And then over the weekend, I'll see you at various and sundry lives. And I know that there's some Restream stuff going on this weekend that I want to see. I think that the guy who sews is going to do some interviews over the weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. You all have a great day. Thank you for showing up and spending time with me. I definitely appreciate all of you. Love you. Have a great day. Let me see if I can figure out how